I know it might seem a little ridiculous to make pasta when you're, A, in Italy, and B, it's extremely hot outside. But, pasta still is always the answer. It is like the thing that you want. And I wanted it, and Max wanted it, and he also wanted sausage. So that's what we made. At first, I thought I would do sort of like a, more ragu situation where you take the sausage out of the casing, you brown it, you turn it into the sauce, you incorporate it. But the little tiny grocery store in town had like a shockingly diverse sausage selection. And I was obviously quite taken with the pork and lemon variety. And so, of course, I had to buy it, and it was in this nice little coil. And I am an absolute sucker for a sausage that is in a coil shape. So I couldn't bear to defile it by removing the sausage from the casing, so I decided to just cook it separately. Also, once again, summertime, we're in Italy, there is just so much eggplant. It was, eggplant and peppers, and I'm not a huge pepper person, so I felt like it would be disrespectful not to include eggplant somehow. Usually when I'm cooking eggplant, I prefer to roast it above all, above grilling, above frying, above sauteing. I love to roast it. I feel like that's the best way to cook eggplant. It gets the most tender, the most color. It's the most delicious. But I could feel like this oven hadn't been turned on in about 94 years. So I cooked it stovetop in the sausage fat, added some onions, and it was pretty good. When people ask me what my top 3 kitchen utensils are, like, desert island, okay, you have 3 kitchen tools you can take with you. I usually say sharp knife, tongs, and a microplane. I didn't have any of these things in this house. Not one of these 3 things were present in this home, but I did have a fork.
Use this for your salad, this for your main course, and this.
Okay, so the eggplant did eventually get nice and soft, obviously. Not oven soft, but it did get nice and soft. And then I added this tomato puree, which was more like a tomato sauce. It was more like the jarred sauce that we know and love. So you could also use jarred sauce, but this was the only tomato product they had. They didn't even have the option for like whole peeled canned tomatoes, so I thought that was interesting. I will say, of all the things not in this house, there was, famously a fork, but also this wooden spoon with a flat edge, and I love that style spoon. Is it even a spoon? It's more a spatula. It's like a wooden spatula spoon, but it is so good for scraping up the bottom of pans because of the soft wood. It doesn't scrape or scratch, but it really gets in there. It's strong, it's sturdy, it doesn't break, it doesn't bend. I love it. I love this thing. This is gonna sound maybe obvious, but water is such an talked about ingredient in cooking, and I use it all the time.
Without this eternal water cycle, life on Earth could not exist.
And I'm not just talking about like to boil things or clean stuff, but way more than I use something like wine or broth. I use water in salad dressings and sauces and braises and soups and stews. Sometimes you just need dilution or increased sauciness without adding more flavor or without spending more money on a different ingredient. Anyway, I love water, and I'm so grateful for it. Okay, this is a real when in Rome situation, or when in Sicily. I would never use dried oregano otherwise. I feel like dried oregano for me is like for pozole when I'm in Mexico. But it was in the house. There was this giant bush of dried oregano in the house. I don't know how old it was. I didn't really care. I used it. It was great. The thing about doing the eggplant stovetop, not to harp on it, but it just is quick. It is slower to break down. So you do kind of have to crush it into submission, which again, a plug for this spoon spatula thing. This shape is called casserecci, which is so fun, right? Ever crushed cloves of garlic with a steak knife from IKEA? It is humbling. Okay, so adding garlic at the end of cooking feels like something someone does when they forgot to add the garlic at the beginning of cooking, but I promise you, this is no mistake, my friend. I add it because I very much enjoy the sort of raw garlic energy, the spicy, the punchy, the savory, especially when added to something so simple like a tomato sauce. That's just basically tomato and onion. And that tends to be sort of on the sweeter side, and adding garlic at the end really does bring you back from the brink. It like reminds you that this is a savory dish. It's a savory sauce. Whenever possible, I really do prefer to take the pasta out of the pot using like a strainer or a spider or something and drop it right into the sauce. I feel, safety first, and safety is very important to me. And taking the pot over to the sink and dumping it, the boiling water, it is an accident waiting to happen. It is very scary. It is unsafe. And frankly, I feel like bringing the pasta to the skillet is just an easier, better way to go about doing things. Plus, it kind of feels like you're fishing, and I like that. This does look so delicious. I don't know what it is about basil. I feel like people ask me, how do I keep my basil looking good? And how do I keep my basil looking fresh? I don't know. Look at this basil. I don't know the answer, obviously. I bring this home from the market, and 30 seconds later on the counter, it's like you look at it and it looks like this. What's happening? I don't know. I've tried everything. I know you're going to comment, okay, you got to try the Ziploc. You got to do the thing with the paper towel and put it under the moonlight for 6 days with the crystal. I don't know. It doesn't work. The basil just wants to turn brown when it's not at the market. It's like the basil is a witch, and it can only survive under very specific certain circumstances, and that's in the ground or at the farmer's market. Admittedly, this beautiful coil of sausage that I was so excited about did break apart in transit from skillet to plate. And that's why I made Max zoom in on this footage, because I personally did not want to see the sausage all broken up and weird. It looked not great. I assume you don't want to see that either. And trust me, I do not take pride in the edit process. I don't want to ever not show you something because I don't like the way it looks. I want to show you everything. It's natural, it's authentic, it's real. But the broken up sausage, I drew a line. I didn't like it. But you get the idea. The sausage was served on the side. But this, my God, I mean, this sort of end energy, this you do need to see. This is very delightful. It's a very ciao bella evening. And we didn't even have to leave the house yet again. Can you imagine?
Here are all kinds of food. We can take it for granted that these are nice people, just such a home and such people as your own. Yes, that's kitchen magic.